we wait for the drunks to get hungry and watch the game. Snickerdoodle. All right, got through. Remember, roof of the mouth. I'm brain freeze. All the sensors at the roof of the mouth, so you can try any kind of temperature change. It can even be cold water or warm water. Oh, you rub the roof of your mouth. Gets rid of the brain freeze. What happens is you got these sensors at the roof of your mouth, it's like billions of sensors. It gets overloaded when there's the cold ice cream. So it sends a message to your brain that something very cold went into your mouth. It's kind of like a warning or an alarm or something. A lot of people, I've heard different rumors about the veins on your neck and all this other stuff. It's not that, it's the roof of the mouth. I've studied it. Anyway, we did get one at Parati's Pizza. We'll be dropping off the pizza at your doorstep. I'll get a shadow shot. I've been experimenting with shadows. Okay, if you watch the show, you know I created a new character for the werewolf script, the feed store owner, known as Mr. Shaw Walnut, hopefully played by Wallace Shawn, hopefully. There is a employee that works with Mr. Shaw Walnut called the feed store clerk. Tall, thin guy. Didn't say older, but he's older. And he tells him, he says, you know, Mr. Walnut, I'm going out for lunch. He says, all right. And then as you hear the feed store clerk leave the door, you hear him say, all righty. Then, smaller role, but I know a guy that can say that. It's old righty. Then, and it would be interesting because there's going to be a sequel with the whole Bill Jack order. The whole Bill Jack thing's a big part of the whole thing. It's like a huge thing. I can't think of anyone better than, of course, to play Mr. Shaw Walnut than Wallace Shawn. Yes, Wallace Shawn. And the guy that says the all righty, then we'll probably do a cattle call for in Canada area. Maybe find some stand-up comedian or something. Tall, thin guy, could be older. Probably Frank Darabont might have some ideas. Some guy that can move around real weird and things like that. But the Bill Jack orders are important in the werewolf screenplay, which will probably be maybe a series one day or something. It's a nice little scene, but it's kind of a pantomime scene. And so they're, you know, scanning these quick response codes on these Bill Jack orders. And Rainey Love's kind of standing there going, you know, waiting. And they're scanning it. And I think it'd be funny if some guy could play the clerk role, you know, like, I don't know. I'm looking for a guy with the first name of maybe Jim or something. Someone that cares quite a bit about things, you know. Very, very kind of, you know, care-y kind of thing, you know. And he could maybe do it, possibly, I don't know. It'd be funny. I love those movies where the cameos, like this iconic star kind of thing, you know. But we'll talk about the pantomime later and the Bill Jack orders and the dog food. There's a dog that barks in the background. You have to read the script. I just added it on the notes. I only have the notes on Facebook. But I am adding to the major tapestry of the tablet of the whole entire scroll of the script that I'm working on. Grace, aka Werevlog Man. Like, wow. Well, you don't realize that Wallace Shawn's character, Mr. Shaw Walnut, understands every word of the gypsy language and loves to bless the Bill Jack dog food for the town of Boxville. Picking this pizza up, Parati's Pizza.
Yes, ma'am.
And this original kind of Ghostbustery kind of horror comedy known as Grace right now, aka Werevlog, you realize how important this Mr. Shaw Wallace and his feed clerk is. They do certain things to the Bill Jack dog food. They're big fans of, well, the sequel's very, very different. Because I've always had this kind of, oh, there's a Jiu-Jitsu, Team Mara. But I've always had this, this kind of thing about this whole town of people actually being werewolves. They're like a community of werewolves. So it'll call upon actors that can contort parts of their body at times and things like that. But we can, of course, later we'll get to the sequel. But you realize that something is being done with this Bill Jack dog food. And that, we'll get into that later, how the curse of the werewolf is spread among the people. All because of a little kitty named Garlane, the keeper of the curse. Well, it kind of is. It's a shape-shifting thing. This goes beyond like this creating new myths and stuff about werewolves. We don't see that town fully in Barksville. Like we know Barksville's a strange town, but we don't know in the beginning episode, or you could say the first movie, that we don't know that the town is cursed with, the whole town is like werewolves. We just know that Rainey suggests that they live there, and Grace, who's just a UFC fighter that's popular, decides to move there. In the sequel, we realize exactly what has been going on. But in the first one, we don't know that. We don't know everything yet. We just kind of get glimpses of the characters. And then later on, they come back with bigger roles and stuff. It could easily probably be a series. It's already up to 150 pages, and I'm not going to be done with the script. It's going to be at least 300 pages script, at least minimum, probably, with all the characters adding over 200 pages for sure. So that's a good way. And if I do side projects and things like that, I can always add scenes and give them to other directors if they want to come in, and I can always write it up and tell you what exactly it is. And here is the great news, my friends. I don't exactly understand the curse myself. I don't understand all of it myself. I'm learning about it as I go along. I'm digging it up as I go along. I know some of it. I know some of the names. I know some of the things that happen, but I don't understand all of it. I won't claim to. I'll talk about histories of werewolves and blah, 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 blah. But ultimately, it's something that just finds itself as we go along. Ooh, message. From Anne Rice to Stephanie Myers to all the writers that deal with werewolves and vampires, they all have their own take on the myth. Mine is, I'm sure of one thing. The silver turns them back to the original state. It doesn't necessarily kill them. But I know that in True Blood, silver did something to the vampires and things like that. This one is, if they're in contact with silver, then they cannot shapeshift, and they cannot be the werewolf if silver is on them, or even in them. It doesn't even have to penetrate them. They just have to be touching silver, and they go back to a human state immediately. And this happens with, it happens in the end of the original, which is known as Grace, for Werevlog. So that is something that's consistent within it. So I just wanted to say that. It doesn't necessarily like burn into them. Now, if it's a silver dagger, because the inexperienced werewolf hunters may think, okay, well, we can kill them with a silver dagger or whatever. Once it touches them with the silver, then they've turned back to human state. Now, if we go back and we look at the script, Rennie Love actually has a necklace that's made of silver, but it has the plentiful crops on it for the Native American thing. She also has a silver dagger that she used to use when she was in the female Kiss band known as Silver. The band's name was Silver. So she would probably have silver on her while she was performing. That way she was not able to shapeshift into the werewolf. So the silver, in a way, makes them normal. It's that kind of thing. So silver is a big aspect of the screenplay and the movie and the possible series. Super Bowl pizza, cheese and pepperoni.
Access granted.
Yes, access granted. There we go. Very simple and technical Rainey starts the curse on the Bill Jack dog food, then drops it off the guy named Mr. Sean Walnut, who runs the Bill Jack. Well, he runs Mr. Walnut's feed store. Then that dog food is distributed to the dogs throughout the town. And then the dogs become cursed, and then they bite their owners, and the owners become afflicted with the lycanthropy. So, but that all goes through the feed store for the sequel, basically. The town has been a werewolf town for a very long time, known as Barksville, Texas. We have our exits and entrances. Our entrances and exits. All right, we got one at Jake's Burgers. It's coming to your door. The psychiatrist asks you, do you think you're the son of God? You just respond with, do you think you're a psychiatrist? Child of God. I'm male, so we're the sons of God. Those are like, what do they call them? It's what type of question it is. It's a go this way over here. There's the private sector or even the religious sector that can speak in certain way, and then there's the opposite, the colloquial, as they say, or it's a certain vernacular to it, but it means non-religious, So you're a non-religious person that's asking a question about religion, what would they possibly know? Of course, everybody's crazy to them. Secular, it's a secular question, That's what I hate about, this world that you have to fight against at times. They're secular questions, Well, I happen to be, I hate to say spiritual, but I happen to have a personal relationship with a person known as Jesus Christ that ascended from the dead 3 days after he was crucified. Do you have a problem with that? Yeah, right. Then they kind of step back a little bit. I have a right to have my own religion. Punk ass psychiatrist. That's the Omni right there. I didn't answer it that way. I gave him the answer that he wanted because he was thinking, some kind of supernatural, you think you can walk on water. I didn't say that, punk. Really, it's a question that should be omitted from the whole thing, which I'm sure it is. It's just them questioning your faith before their power. The power of voodoo. What you do is you ask them, well, let me turn the question around. Do you believe in God? Right. And then they would say, well, that's none of your business. And I would say, right back at you, buddy. Go back to school. Go back to your psychiatrist camp. This is the old antique building, which is I guess it was once the mail center. Somewhere where Bukowski probably would have worked, Charles Bukowski. There's a heck of a poet. And the original one's in the center, which has a neoclassicism. It's kind of got a Ghostbustery feel. But it's a mail center off of Jennings and Lancaster. United States Postal Service. Look at it though, look at the columns. That one's cool, and then the neighboring ones is very Ghostbustery. Right there. That's that basically is an apartment complex now. You can imagine that. It's a luxury apartment complex. And that's a joined part of it. It's right there. Right near Stage West. It's on the left here. If you go down Vickery to the left, that's, I think, the Dickies, original Dickies. If you ever wear Dickies, it's a nice mural right down that way. Also another nice mural right here. It's like a zipper.